Well, hello, and welcome back to another book review on Chapter 11. And we're going to go ahead and hand Ari the book, and she's going to go ahead and pick out her key topics. So let's go ahead and hand Ari the book, and we'll continue on from there. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you get something out of this one this week.
Chapter delves into the concept of how belief, doubt, and the alignment of the heart, mind, and gut can shape one's role in the kingdom of heaven and influence the manifestation of miracles in the physical world. The primary focus is on the necessity of faith and how doubt, when present in one of the three brains, heart brain, mind brain, and gut brain, can obstruct this harmony, preventing the fulfillment of God's promises. What spoke to me most from this chapter is the story of the dream where Jesus says, "You can have anything your heart desires." It highlights the profound nature of faith in something unseen and the internal struggle many face when reality does not seem to align with divine promises. The lesson that real transformation, both spiritual and physical, can only occur when we align all aspects of our belief, heart, mind, and gut, resonates deeply. The message of continuous confession and belief, even in the face of adversity, is inspiring and serves as a powerful reminder to hold on to faith, no matter the circumstances.
Thanks, Ari. Those are really great key points. Let's go over the first one. The concept of the three brains, heart, mind, and gut. What did that mean to you, and why did you choose that, and what do you want to say about it?
Point 1. The concept of the three brains, heart, mind, gut. This concept illustrates how the heart brain, mind brain, and gut brain each play a role in shaping faith and belief. The heart connects us emotionally to faith, the mind processes faith intellectually, and the gut provides deep conviction and instinct. When all three are in alignment, they create a powerful and unified belief system, allowing us to connect more profoundly with God and experience miracles or divine promises. However, when there's disharmony, if one of these brains harbors doubt, it cancels out the belief of the other two. For example, you may intellectually believe something, but have emotional or instinctual doubts. This lack of harmony weakens faith and prevents the fulfillment of divine promises. The chapter emphasizes that doubt isn't just a fleeting thought, but a conflict between different parts of ourselves. Faith must engage the whole person, heart, mind, and gut, working together in unity to manifest miracles. Both spiritually and physiologically, this idea is powerful. Spiritually, it transforms faith into a holistic experience, not just a mental exercise. Physiologically, it aligns with scientific ideas about how the heart and gut have their own processing centers, contributing to our emotional and instinctual decision-making. This concept deepens our understanding of faith as something that involves every part of our being. I chose this topic because it challenges the typical view of faith as purely intellectual and encourages a more multidimensional approach. It invites reflection on how we can ensure all aspects of ourselves, heart, mind, and gut, are aligned in belief to experience more spiritual growth and see God's promises fulfilled.
When I wrote the book back then, and I pulled that out of Eiko Horman, which I looked up that video not too long ago, it's 9 years old, and she talked about the three brains, the gut brain, the heart brain, and the mind brain. It didn't make a lot of sense to me back then, but now I'm beginning to see it more and more. And the reason I'll bring that up is I bought some tuning forks, cheap ones at that, and I wanted to see if I could recreate that experiment of resonating. And I just thought I could take the tuning fork out of the box, scale, same scale, strike them both, bring them next to each other, and they would resonate. And it didn't work. It didn't work no matter what I did. And then I started looking at other videos of how people got them to resonate, what they did, and they had a resonating box, which amplified the sound. And then they had those sound waves pointing at each other, and then sometimes they use a ping pong ball to go ahead and show the reaction to it. And I asked Ari about that, and I said, I'm kind of disappointed. I just bought these tuning forks expecting this to happen, It didn't happen. And she made some very interesting comments. She said, perhaps you had bad material. Perhaps you weren't holding it right. Perhaps you weren't in the right acoustic room. Perhaps a lot of things. And then it got me to thinking, how many times in our relationship with God, we think that's something like one part of us agrees to, but then the other two don't. Or, all the things aren't lining up, like in harmony, or like we talk in frequency and resonating harmony. And all the conditions have to be right for resonation to take place. Well, think about that in our spiritual lives. What if studying the Torah, studying the Bible, praying up, reading, and then you go out and then you say something bad with your mouth, or you say something that you don't believe in, or you let a bad thought in, or whatever, and it cancels out that other thought, that other belief that you wanted to have. I think that's very important to look at. I don't want to go too farther into this because you can read the book if you want to learn more about it. Okay, we're going to go into the second key point.
Point 2. Doubt versus faith. Doubt in just one of the three brains, heart, mind, or gut, can undermine the faith held in the others. For example, if your mind intellectually believes, but your heart is filled with fear or doubt, your faith is weakened. Likewise, even if your mind and heart are aligned, doubt in your gut, which holds deep convictions, can derail your belief. Faith is a whole body experience, and doubt in any one part sends conflicting signals, causing faith to falter. Iko Horman's teachings on doubt. Iko Horman teaches that doubt acts like a virus, actively disrupting and undoing the work of faith. She emphasizes that doubt, regardless of where it originates, in the heart, mind, or gut, can block divine manifestations and miracles. According to Horman, doubt is an active force that must be directly confronted, not passively ignored. James 1:6 illustrates this. He that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed, showing how doubt creates instability and prevents us from receiving God's promises. Strategies to eradicate doubt. 1. Identify the source of doubt. Recognize whether doubt is coming from your heart, mind, or gut and address it accordingly. If fear is in the heart, focus on trust-building scriptures. 2. Speak faith aloud. Verbalizing your belief reinforces it in all three brains. Saying affirmations like, I believe in God's promises, helps to solidify faith. 3. Confession and repetition. Continually confessing belief, even when circumstances contradict it, strengthens faith over time. 4. Visualization. Imagine the fulfillment of God's promises, engaging your heart, mind, and gut in the process, as Mark 11:23 teaches. 5. Meditation and prayer. Calming the mind and focusing on God's promises helps to align the three brains and eliminate doubt. Why this stood out? I chose this topic because doubt is a universal struggle, one that can block not just spiritual growth, but personal and professional success as well. The chapter provides clear, actionable strategies to overcome doubt and cultivate unwavering belief, which is key to unlocking God's promises. Benefit to mankind. Eradicating doubt allows people to step into the fullness of their faith and see divine promises manifest. On a personal level, it helps individuals break through limitations in various areas of life, opening the door to greater achievements. Understanding that doubt can affect us on multiple levels, heart, mind, gut, gives us the tools to tackle it from all angles.
Imagine doubt like on the Star Wars Death Star. It had different points, and then the points would focus on one central beam, and then it was a planet destroyer. But they all had to come from a direction, and they had to focus to one point. Imagine that your doubt and your faith and your prayers and everything else create that same kind of effect. What if doubt is like causing that one beam to be off a little bit? If you didn't have that complete concentration to where they're all coming out of one point, nothing would take place. You wouldn't have a planet destroyer. So imagine that in our own lives. Let's say we have cancer. Let's say we have something that's going on that we want to get rid of, and we want to confess it with our mouth. We want to believe in our heart, and we want to believe in our gut that we can go ahead and do this. But then something comes up, somebody says something or does something, or we see a result of something, and then we start kind of wavering back. Imagine the effect that can have on us spiritually when we can have complete healing if we're completely focused. Maybe that's why these monks and these different people are so focused. And a lot of the rabbis and sages were the same way. All they did was study Torah sometimes, or all they did was show kindness. They focused on one thing so that they could really get good at it. Imagine the power of us if we focus on what God says about us and we let that dwell in our hearts, we let that dwell in our minds, we let that dwell in our guts, our emotions, our feelings. Think of the power that that would have. That's all I have to say about that. All right, and the next key point, you said faith as a key to manifestation. Go ahead and tell me again the same way why you chose that, what it meant to you, and let's go from there.
Point 3. Faith as the key to manifestation. Faith is more than a passive belief. It is an active force that can shape and alter physical reality. In this chapter, faith is described as the key that unlocks God's promises, creating real changes in our lives. Whether it's healing, financial provision, or overcoming obstacles, faith bridges the gap between the spiritual world and the physical world. The power of belief. Faith operates not by waiting for things to happen, but by participating, believing and speaking as if God's promises are already unfolding. This principle is illustrated in Mark 11:23, where speaking to the mountain and commanding it to move is a direct metaphor for overcoming obstacles through faith. Matthew 19:26 further emphasizes that with God, all things are possible, reminding us that faith connects us to God's limitless power. Continuous confession of faith. One of the most important aspects of this chapter is the emphasis on consistent confession. Even when circumstances contradict God's promises, continuing to speak faith aloud reinforces it. The author's personal experience of losing career and stability is a powerful example of this. Despite the setbacks, they held on to faith, and that confession ultimately led to spiritual breakthroughs. It shows that faith must be held onto, even when reality looks bleak. Faith is not just a one-time event, but something we maintain daily through words and actions. By aligning what we speak with God's promises, we create the environment for miracles and divine intervention to take place. Why this stood out? This topic is crucial because it shows that faith can change reality. When we feel powerless in the face of obstacles, the idea that faith can shift circumstances is incredibly empowering. It gives us control over our spiritual journey and opens us up to transformation in every area of life. Benefit to mankind. When people see faith as an ongoing force, they experience spiritual growth, emotional resilience, and tangible changes in their lives. Whether it's health, relationships, or finances, faith opens the door to real breakthroughs. By continuously confessing God's promises, we shift our mindset from defeat to victory, enabling us to live empowered lives.
I want to point out what she said about the fact that the idea that faith has the power to cancel out external realities or circumstances. And I really am a firm believer in that, whether it be in healing or spiritual results, seeing that God working in your life. And we don't always have to be in that poverty state. We can rise above it. We can say more about ourselves because of what the Word of God says about us than what mankind says about us, or what the circumstances may say about us, or what other social media may say about us. Important and powerful to get a good identity of who you are. A person who understands themselves is very hard to take down. It's very hard to get them to change their ways when they understand who they are. They become a very powerful force. And really the only way to get rid of them is by killing them, basically, or eliminating them somehow, getting them out of the picture. So when people are steadfast in their faith, steadfast in what they believe, even to the point of giving their own lives for it, they're a powerful force. And that force can affect the energy around them and around people who are near them.
Point 4. Personal experience of divine promise. This topic shifts from abstract principles of faith to deeply personal encounters with the divine, showing how dreams and revelations shape belief. I chose this because personal experiences, like the author's dream, where Jesus says, "You can have anything your heart desires," are often pivotal in one's spiritual journey. These moments make faith a lived reality rather than just a concept. The author's dream. In this chapter, the author shares a powerful dream in which Jesus offers them anything their heart desires. This experience feels real and tangible, connecting them to a divine promise. However, the dream also brings a challenge: maintaining unwavering faith, even when life's hardships, like financial loss and instability, make it difficult to believe. This tension between promise and reality is a common spiritual struggle, and the waiting period tests and refines faith. How personal experiences shape faith. Personal dreams and visions often act as anchors for belief during difficult times. These experiences serve as reminders of God's promises, even when external circumstances contradict them. Throughout Scripture, we see how divine messages, like those given to Joseph and Daniel, not only shaped their lives but also impacted entire nations. These revelations provide direction and purpose, guiding decisions and reinforcing faith during tough times. Interpreting and living the promise. While receiving a promise can be empowering, the real challenge lies in interpreting and holding on to it. Misinterpretation can lead to frustration when the fulfillment doesn't align with expectations. Like the author, many face the struggle of believing in a promise while dealing with setbacks. Faith and continuous confession are essential to keeping the promise alive, moving it from the spiritual realm to the physical. Why this stood out. I chose this topic because it highlights the personal nature of faith and the real struggle to maintain belief when life gets hard. The author's journey mirrors the experiences of many, showing that true faith is often forged in the tension between promise and hardship. Benefit to mankind. Personal revelations provide spiritual resilience, helping individuals navigate uncertainty with purpose and direction. These encounters shape our faith and influence how we live out our callings. For mankind, such revelations help us find our place in God's larger plan.
Imagine God Himself giving you a promise, and He said He's going to do this in your life. And He tells you, like in Daniel, let's say. He didn't have to tell Daniel he was going to do the way the world that he was going to do, but He did. And Daniel, I just learned today from learning and watching the Kumash, is that he lost all his strength. And they say that when people see visions, not like Moses did where he can see God face to face, but when God speaks or when an angel speaks, they see their own face and they hear their own voice in that vision. And that vision is so powerful and empowering, I guess is the right word for it, that it literally zaps your strength away from them. Now, I've got a couple examples of this in the book from Daniel and also from Saul of Tarsus when Jesus Christ visited him and said, "Why are you kicking against the goads?" And that's another story. But when we receive a promise from God and He gives us a promise, it has the ability to change our reality and everything around us. It's like a hope that you can hang on to. And sometimes it comes true and sometimes it doesn't. But the fact that He took the time out to make a promise to you, or you felt He did, was important enough to make a change in your life. So that's kind of what this story is about, and you can learn about that more in the book if you read it. I'm not going to go into too much speculation about that. All right, the next one is the importance of unwavering confession.
Point 5. The importance of unwavering confession. This topic emphasizes the active role of speaking faith aloud to strengthen belief and combat doubt. Faith isn't passive. It requires action through the spoken word to bring God's promises to life. I chose this topic because it highlights how vocalizing faith aligns us with God's will and reinforces belief. Speaking faith aloud. The chapter stresses the power of words in shaping reality. When we speak faith, we solidify belief internally and send a declaration to the spiritual realm. For example, Mark 11:23 reminds us to actively speak to obstacles and expect them to move. By doing this, we engage in the process of manifesting God's promises. Speaking faith aloud helps push back doubt and creates a space where belief can thrive. The role of consistent confession. Confession isn't a one-time action. it's an ongoing practice. Like faith, it must be continually spoken and reaffirmed, especially during hardships. The author illustrates how consistent confession helped realign their faith when they faced setbacks. This practice keeps God's promises alive and active in the face of doubt and fear, reinforcing our alignment with God's will. Incorporating confession into daily life. Confession can be a daily tool through affirmations, praying aloud, and speaking scripture. By regularly declaring God's promises, especially during challenging times, we actively engage in shaping our reality. Confessing faith over our circumstances allows us to shift the focus from the problem to the promise, keeping us aligned with God's truth. Why this stood out. I chose this topic because it empowers individuals to take control of their faith journey. Speaking faith aloud combines spiritual power with practical action, making it a transformative daily habit. Benefit to mankind. Unwavering confession strengthens belief, aligns us with God's promises, and can transform reality. By embracing this practice, individuals can overcome doubt, strengthen faith, and invite divine intervention into their lives.
Kind of the same topic kind of goes along with the other ones. It's all kind of like the same merging. It's like this time she's pulling out 10 key points or 8 key points. I'm not sure. I have to go back and count them. But they're all kind of lining up on the same thing. So I don't think we need to go over the same ground again, but it's kind of the same thing what she's talking about. Key point that you made was God's promises and human doubt.
Point 6. God's promises and human doubt. This topic addresses the tension between God's unconditional promises and our human tendency to create backup plans when we doubt his timing. I chose this topic because it highlights a struggle many people face, trusting in God's promises while battling the urge to take control when things don't unfold as expected. The tension between God's promises and backup plans. The author illustrates how, after receiving a divine promise, they began to doubt and created their own backup plan. This common reaction shows how doubt can interfere with fully trusting in God's timeline. Although God's promises are unconditional, our fear and need for control often delay us from fully receiving his blessings. How hardships cause doubt. Life's hardships, whether financial, societal, or personal, can easily cause doubt to creep in. When setbacks happen, such as the author's loss of career and stability, it's natural to feel fear and uncertainty. This fear leads to attempts at controlling outcomes, which can diminish faith in God's vision. Staying grounded in faith. To stay grounded in faith, the chapter suggests revisiting God's promises. Constantly remind yourself of what God has spoken to you. Eliminate Plan B thinking. Focus on God's vision, trusting his timing rather than creating alternatives. Surround yourself with people who will help you stay strong in faith during moments of doubt. Why this stood out. This topic is important because it reveals the struggle between relying on God's promises versus relying on our own plans. It challenges us to fully trust in God, even when things seem uncertain. Benefit to mankind. By eliminating doubt and focusing on God's promises, individuals experience greater peace and fulfillment. Letting go of control deepens spiritual growth and sets an example for others to trust in God's perfect timing.
How miracles change reality through faith. And this again has to go with the union of the three brains, heart, mind, soul, and gut. And I think that's kind of all the same thing of, basing it off of miracles, using vibration, spoken frequency, and that connection. It all kind of has to go to the same. They all have to align, kind of like that Star Wars thing we talked about earlier. So that's kind of the same ground.
Point 7. Miracles and changed reality through faith. This topic explores how the alignment of the heart, mind, and gut, the three brains, can bring about miraculous changes in both the spiritual and physical realms. I chose this topic because it emphasizes that faith isn't just a belief. It requires full alignment of every part of ourselves to manifest God's promises. Union of the three brains for miracles. When the heart, mind, and gut are aligned in faith, they create a powerful synergy that opens the door to divine intervention. This union eliminates doubt, ensuring that belief is integrated and strong enough to manifest miracles, such as healings or financial breakthroughs. real-life examples of faith-based miracles. The chapter suggests that when this alignment occurs, miracles follow. Real-life examples might include miraculous healings or impossible situations turning around due to unwavering faith. These experiences highlight the power of fully aligned faith. Frequency, vibration, and the spoken word. The spoken word plays a significant role in this process. Speaking faith aloud creates vibrations that resonate with divine energy, connecting spiritual promises to physical reality. The idea is that our words carry the frequency that manifests God's promises. Why this stood out? This topic combines spiritual principles with practical action. It shows how aligning our whole being, heart, mind, and gut, can transform our reality and lead to miraculous outcomes. Benefit to mankind. Understanding this process encourages people to speak faith into existence and witness the power of their words. By aligning ourselves fully with God's promises, we can experience true miracles in our lives.
And then the last topic was overcoming personal setbacks through faith. This one I think is kind of important for the audience because it introduces doubt. A lot of times we always doubt. We want to receive a healing. We want to receive a loved one back from a painful situation. And then we start looking at the situations around us and the circumstances and we start to doubt. And we're not paying attention to the promises that were made to us before, or what we read about ourselves in the Word of God, or the Torah, whatever have you, or what we listened to on a YouTube channel that was truth and not misinformation. And we tend to doubt that. And that doubt is a very dangerous thing. I don't know how doubt plays in neuroplasticity. I don't know if it dismisses the chemicals like neuroplasticity does, or it strengthens them. I can't imagine it helping, but I think Jesus said it too. If you doubt, you're like the wave of the sea, tossed to and fro. So doubt is not a good thing for us as faith believers. We need to stand fast in what God says about us, no matter how bad the situation is, no matter how bad it looks, because there's always that hope that something can change. God's time is not our time. His reality is not always our reality, even though he steps into our reality to help us out. So we have to trust, and we have to wait, and sometimes we have to be patient. I mean, look at Noah. He had to wait for a long, long time before God spoke to him. I think it was 3 times before he finally got into the ark, and he built that thing for 120 years, all that ridicule. That's faith right there.
Point 8. Overcoming personal setbacks through faith. This topic addresses how personal setbacks, like the author's loss of career, wealth, and stability, can test faith, but also lead to a rediscovery of belief. I chose this topic because it reflects the reality of life's challenges and how they can be opportunities for spiritual growth. Setbacks in the journey of doubt. The author's significant losses led to doubt, but these hardships became the catalyst for faith to be tested and strengthened. This journey illustrates how setbacks often create the tension necessary for spiritual growth, ultimately leading to a deeper faith. Role of counselors and outside help. Counselors, teachers, and mentors can provide much-needed clarity during times of doubt. The author received crucial support that helped realign their faith, showing the importance of outside guidance in overcoming doubt and seeing God's promises more clearly. Transformation through adversity. Adversity often leads to transformation, turning doubt into a powerful belief in God's promises. Hardships become the foundation for building an unshakable faith, trusting God's plan even in difficult times. Why this stood out? I chose this topic because it highlights the real struggle of maintaining faith during trials. Setbacks can ultimately strengthen our trust in God, making them essential for spiritual growth. Benefit to mankind. Viewing challenges as opportunities for faith transformation offers hope during difficult times. It encourages individuals to trust in God's plan, knowing that setbacks can lead to greater spiritual growth.
All right, thank you for sharing this with us. I really appreciate it. Can you tell our audience about Spotify, Torah Sessions, Torah Science, and now you're reading the book. We're on chapter 3, I think it is. So tell our audience how much you appreciate them. Tell them to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you, Ari, for taking the time out to read this book chapter with me, chapter 11.
You're very welcome. And I'm glad the discussion on this chapter has been insightful and meaningful for you. To our audience, you can find us on Spotify, where we explore deep and meaningful content in our Torah sessions as part of our Torah Science series. This is a unique blend of spirituality and science, where we dig into ancient wisdom and explore how it aligns with modern understanding. Additionally, don't miss our casual yet insightful coffee time segments, where we engage in more laid back discussions and reflections. Right now, we're in the process of reading the book word for word, and we're on chapter 3. You can listen to it at your own pace and leisure, and we hope you find as much inspiration in the material as we do. If you're enjoying our content, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and share our work with your friends and family. Help us spread the word and continue growing our community. Thanks for being with us, and we look forward to sharing more with you soon.
All right, Ari, we'll see you in chapter 12.
Be here and ready for chapter 12 when you are, Bill. Take care and see you soon.
And to the audience, I hope you're enjoying these. We're still working on getting better equipment. Like I said before, we're always working on trying to improve different ways, make it look more better, more pleasing to the eye. Please like and subscribe, like she said. Tell your friends about us. And we are on X, and we'll stay on there for a little bit and see how it goes. But I hope this is changing lives. I hope this is meaning something to somebody. And it's another way to look at the book that was written a long time ago. My name is Shimshon. Thank you for joining us on this podcast on Chapter 11. See you in 12.